Before anything else, not all homeless are bums and thieves. It is important to understand the difference in order to solve the problem. The majority of them are not criminals. Some of them have Social Security income or disability income, and even a job. Their earnings are just too low to pay for housing. Those individuals usually don't panhandle, and some only panhandle after spending all the earnings, usually on the second half of the month. Criminals. Just like people with homes, some homeless are just criminals. With or without a home, a criminal is a criminal, and all of them should be treated and dealt with the same way. Believe it or not, this is the minority. Most homeless are not criminals. Most drug dealers we see on Ocean Drive and some other kinds of criminals hide among this population, therefore giving the homeless a bad name. Some homeless steal for food. This is called survival. It is not okay. It is just how it is. Given the opportunity, they will work for their food. Almost all of them have several arrests, most for trespassing. Trespassing is when they are sleeping somewhere in private or public property other than a shelter, and it is considered illegal. Therefore, they get arrested. They spend the night in jail. The judge lets them go the next day. Since we all must sleep, they will eventually get arrested again, get another record in their file, which complicates their lives when they go for a job interview. More of our tax monies are spent on this, and the judge lets them go the next day again, and so forth. Let that sink in a bit. Types. We have two types of homeless here, permanent and transient. Transient tend to stay from 2 weeks to a year, regardless where they come from. Once they cross the bridge, they become Miami Beach's issue. Other cities and states dump them here. I have personally encountered with several unrelated groups of homeless that all got here overnight. They all stated they were living under a particular bridge in Miami, and Miami Police Department evicted them late at night and instructed them to cross the bridge to Miami Beach. I have also met with several homeless from Chicago, Ohio, and New York that told me they were forced into a bus by their local police department without knowing what was happening or where they were going. Some 24 hours later, they were dropped late at night in Miami Beach. Once they experienced the life on the beach, 99% chose to stay. The remaining 1% found a way back to their state. Mental illness. The majority of homeless have some form of mental illness. Mental illness is the third largest cause of homelessness for single adults. Mental illness refers to a wide range of mental health conditions, disorders that affect your mood, thinking, and behavior. Examples of mental illness include depression, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, eating disorders, and addictive behaviors. Some are very visible. They talk, yell to themselves, and/or behave violently. Some are not visible unless triggered by a word or become more noticeable after a longer conversation. For example, a homeless I personally know seriously thinks he will be discovered by a TV reality show. P.S. He is a very nice and educated guy. A mentally ill person is incapable of making a rational decision. The first thing necessary is to get the mentally ill homeless person into treatment and subsequently get them to accept services to help them out of the streets. Job. Several homeless would like to have a job, but no one gives them the opportunity. Drugs and/or alcohol addiction. I would say that 3/4 of the homeless have some sort of addiction. When a person first becomes homeless, they don't necessarily have an addiction, but acquire them in order to cope with the streets. Once addicted, it is very hard to get them to rehab. Some become homeless due to an addiction. Either way, today the medical industry recognizes addictions as illnesses that need medical attention and treatment. Getting housing first is a must in order for those programs to work. Kicking an addiction is hard. Kicking it, being homeless, is even harder. Part of most addictions are related to depression. It is very hard not to be depressed when you don't have a home, when you are vulnerable, when you have to squat to poop. Let that sink in a bit. Veterans. We have a big number of veterans on the streets, though research indicates that veterans who served in Vietnam and the post-Vietnam era are at greatest risk of homelessness. Veterans returning from the recent conflicts in Afghanistan and Iraq often have severe disabilities, including traumatic brain injuries, TBIs, and post-traumatic stress disorders, PTSD, that are known to be correlated with homelessness. And as the military evolves, so too do the challenges. Homeless women veterans, for instance, are far more common now than in any other time in the past. They served our country. They served us. Now most people look at them as if they are garbage. Let that sink in a bit. Youth. It's not always easy to identify youth on the streets through typical counts of unsheltered people experiencing homelessness. Homeless youth are less likely to spend time in the same places as homeless people who are in an older age range. They are often less willing to disclose that they're experiencing homelessness, or may not even identify as homeless. They may work harder to try to blend in with peers who aren't homeless. They also go to school but may not identify themselves. There is an increasing number of homeless teens couch surfing. Traumatizing event, depression. Like the loss of their entire family due to accident, homeless have suffered severe illness affecting their income and loss of their assets, loss of a job and not being able to find a new one in time while living from paycheck to paycheck. Most of them fall into alcoholism and or drug addiction to ease the mental pain in order to be able to cope. What is the City of Miami Beach doing? The city has a homeless and community services division. They do outreach every weekday. They have several options and programs. See their referral form below. Bi-yearly, the Miami-Dade County Homeless Trust conducts a census on every city so each city knows how many homeless are living in each city. The City of Miami Beach has an average of 180 homeless residing here. Residing means they sleep here. Census are conducted late night. The Miami Beach Police Department also has 5 officers and 1 lieutenant that specialize in homelessness. They also do outreach every weekday unless when on Alpha Bravo schedule. Together with them is Bo Hall, a former Miami Beach homeless that has now been doing outreach for 16 plus years for the City of Miami Beach. Most common services offered by the City of Miami Beach: ID replacement, Social Security benefits, shelter placement, permanent housing, substance abuse treatment, mental health treatment, help with jobs, relocation. The city gives them a bus pass to their cities after confirming with a relative or friend that they will be picked up and housed upon arrival at destination, food, and drives them to bus terminal. Legal services. The Marchman Act. When a person uses substances may harm themselves or others, or when too intoxicated and unable to make a decision about helping themselves. Police department take them to a rehab. Their stay is not focused, but if they leave the treatment, an arrest order will be in order for 30 days in prison. This will not count as a criminal record. Baker Act. Forced hospital admission when a person is dangerous to himself or others due to mental illness. Some services are paid by the taxpayers, others by nonprofit, others by the County Homeless Trust. The Miami Beach office has approximately a $1.7 million budget. What to do if I see a homeless that needs assistance or is causing trouble? For assistance during business hours, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., call the city's Homeless Services Division, 305-604-4663, or Roberta Morales Outreach Team, 305-340-9699. 9911, Roberto Morales at miamibeachfl.org. Note, before contacting anyone, ask the homeless person if he or she wants assistance. If they refuse help, there is nothing anyone can do. Anytime for assistance, or if a homeless is causing trouble, call the police non-emergency line 305-673-7901. Unless it is an emergency, then dial 911. Text Valerie 786-546-2422. Short text only, to the point, or send me a short email via the website www.favelamiami.org. This is the referral form from the City of Miami Beach Homeless Services Division. Thank you very much for your willingness to help and for your supporting Favela Miami.